I'm Dr. Dror Izhar, and I would like to interest you in a dissertation which I want to convert to a book. It's about the image of the Indian patriot on British films and television during the Cold War. I'm starting, actually, long before the Cold War, I'm starting with a 1938 film called The Drum. The Drum is a very important movie. It was produced by Alexander Korda and directed by Zoltan Korda in 1938. He made a movie in which there was a villain who fights for the independence of India. He's a Muslim, and being a villain, he does all sort of dastardly acts like killing his brother, wants of course to dispose of his nephew. His nephew is of course loyal to the British, and in the end of course the British are winning the war. And the movie was very, very, very strongly anti-Indian, to the point that it caused an uproar in India itself, and the movie was banned after a very, very big, huge pressure started by the lower middle classes, and of course spread into the bourgeois, the Indian bourgeois, and of course the Indian political parties. If the Indian won the war against the drum, they didn't win the war against the image, because the image persisted to be negative. By the time of the Cold War, the commies were very bad, and of course, if you fought for the independence of India, you have to be a communist, and if you have to be a communist, you have to become bad guy. So you make movies like Bhowani Junction, or historical movies like Stranglers of Bombay, or Northwest Frontier, which was called Flame Over India in the United States, in which the bad guys, of course, were still patriots who fought for Indian independence, and the good guys were people who sided with the British, and the British, of course, were the kings. They were the saints. They knew everything. They were the fathers, and the people who sided with them were the little children. And it was a big, huge, parochial, reactionary, right-wing approach, which completely ignored the whereabouts of the modern world. And we know that the Third World came into being, and the British government decided to part with many countries, with many territories in Africa, in Asia, of course, in Palestine in 1947, and it was already parted with India in 1947. And now comes the second part. The second part comes in 1964, and that's where the big changeover comes. In 1964, you have election, and of course, if you have election, you also have a dramatic point of view, because now there are young people who were little children, who were born in the 30s and 40s, and they don't really like their fathers' outlooks on politics, and they are anti-colonial. And precisely in that juncture of time, from 1964, the Indian patriot becomes the good guy, and the British officer or policeman or police or an army officer is now the bad guy. And the changeover is very marked in 1967, when I think a revolutionary film called The Long Duel, directed by Ken Anakin with Yul Brynner and Trevor Howard, presented for the first time a patriot who is noble, who is kind-hearted, who is sensitive, and his fight against the British is justified, and the legitimation, of course, reached the apophysis of Gandhi in 1982. And of course, in a very light way, there was a satirical attack on the British colonialism in the most profitable film of 1968 called Carry On Up the Khyber Pass, which was lampooning all the colonial attitudes and ideas and presented both the Indian patriots and the British as stupid assholes. Excuse my French. And so you have movies like Gandhi, like Carry On Up the Khyber Pass, like The Long Duel, and of course in the television scene you have The Jewel of the Crown of 1983, which presented the Indians as sympathetic people, and the Indian patriots as very sympathetic, if not sanctified, like Mohandas Karmchand Gandhi, the Mahatma, as a very, very sanctified people, holy people. Even the outlook and the attitude toward the Hindu religion changed. The Hindu religion, which portrayed in 1960, which was very bad, is now very good and noble. The Christian way, or Christianity, is now very bad. And of course, the book ends with a sort of a throwback. And I refer to David Lean's A Passage in India. There is a huge disparity between the book, which was a very barbed satire against the British, and the movie, which was anything but. The David Lean movie was a throwback to the 1930s. Of course, the Indian is good, but the British are nice. This David Lean's version is a kind of a very, very soft, a kind of, I would say, milquetoast one, a very drained, satiristic, nice, almost apologetic, completely reversed with the satirical tone of the Forster book. And that's where my dissertation ends. It ends with the analysis of David Lean's movie and with the biopic of Gandhi. And I think that by now we have a new outlook, new audience, and of course a very new patriot, which is now more or less akin to the historical point of view.